Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another live stream. Back to another live stream. Back
100 times?
to another live stream.
200 times? 500 times?
Who is Jose Arteaga?
Jose Arteaga is a YouTube content creator with several channels focusing on different themes.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live! Thing sucks!
His main channels include travel vlogs and lifestyle content. On his travel channel, Jose Arteaga Travels.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Additionally, he runs a cooking channel and engages in other personal projects that highlight his diverse interests and expertise. Projects and expertise. Projects and expertise. Project, 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 expertise,
forward to hanging out with you guys today as we get ready to have some fun as we usually do out here on the show. Just wanted to give a shout out to everyone that made it. They got the notification and so on and so forth, because today we are going live at a completely different time than we normally do, simply because I have another event later on tonight on my other channel. So we had to just kind of switch it around and so on and so forth. And then, you know how the universe works. You try to get everything set and then things happen. So ever since yesterday afternoon, it's just been a hurricane of things that I've just been dealing with, one after the other, and throughout the day today. And this is why I'm a little late for the show today. So again, just shout out to everyone. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. Hope everything's all well over there. Hope you guys are enjoying. Let me know if there's anything different with the camera, because I had to, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like I said, ever since yesterday afternoon, I have to deal with the camera situation because there was an update to my program. On top of that, the lights, that I use for in here, they all went out. These LED lights that I use, to light up the room because I'm poor. So I had to go on ahead and I had to, go out yesterday, buy some new lights, install them myself. And then once I installed them, then I was having a problem with the, the OBS, because it was just coming out a little bit too flickery and just one thing after the other. But anyways, we're here. We're queer. Get used to it. All right, so, but yeah, like one thing I had to do was kind of change the frame rates a little bit and change a few things on the OBS over here that I use, and so I don't know if it's coming out okay. I think it is. It seems like it's coming out okay. It almost feels like it's a little slower than usual, but I don't know. I can't really tell. I'll let you guys let me know if there's anything weird or different about it. But it seems okay. It seems like everything's going well. In fact, even yesterday I was just thrown for a loop, because I was watching, again, in my busy day with all the things I had going on, I was just kind of skipping through, I think, Twitter or YouTube. I don't know where I saw it. But I saw that all of a sudden Trump did not know what color, Kamala Harris is anymore. And so basically, how it went, I'm going to see if I can play it. I mean, it's okay. I'll play it on here. It is what it is. Let's get, I think it'd be better if we just play it, and then we'll go from there. We'll start talking about it. All right. Let's see what Trump said.
You giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then...
Oh, that wasn't it. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. I was looking for something else. I was looking for... let me see. I'm going to see if I can find it while we talk. But yeah, long story short, hold on. I got to see it. Trump. What was it? Maybe someone can help me in the chat. Trump, Kamala, not black. Because I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, this is probably it right here.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
Give me
a definition then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans have said?
I really don't know. I mean, I really...
Anyways, okay. Enough of that. That was the original quote I was trying to get at, which is, hilarious. I think I'll just leave it there, because I think we'll probably come back to that later. So when he said that, by the way, I just heard that yesterday. Like I said, I was busy doing a million things, but you already know, in the news feed and all that stuff, they started to talk about this whole idea. This whole thing that what Trump said. So I went and I saw that clip that we just saw there, and I was cracking up. But as I was cracking up, I quickly asked myself, well, wait a minute. What do you mean she's not black? Well, wait a minute. let me do some research. So I did. I just went on Google and I searched and, went to Wikipedia, right? Trusted news network or trusted news outlet or whatever you want to call it. And right off the bat, you get to see her background. Okay, so let's just talk about, let's just go back into early life, okay? So it says it right there. Kamala, here, I'll put it all, hold on, so it'll be easier for me to read on this end. Okay, so anyway, so as it says there, Kamala Devi Harris was born in Oakland. Her mother, Shyamala Goplan, was a biologist whose work at the progesterone receptor genes advanced in breast cancer research. So anyways, Shyamala, again, Kamala's mom, moved to the United States from India as a 19-year-old graduate student. Okay, so her mom is Indian. Now what about her dad? So her dad, Kamala's father, Donald J. Harris, is a Stanford University professor of economics who arrived in the United States from Jamaica. Okay, and he studied in Berkeley. But anyways, so her dad is Jamaican, and her mom is Indian. So that's not black. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I don't know myself, but that's not black. I mean, I'm Latino. Yo soy Cubano, and there's a lot of black Cubans. I grew up with a lot of Latino people, black Dominicans, black people from all over the place, black Haitians, well, in fact, all Haitians are black, right? I think. But Jamaicans that are black and all this other stuff. There are white Jamaicans, by the way. But all I'm saying is that in the United States, okay, when black people, okay, of all races, of all countries, when they're talking to each other, they basically segregate themselves as well. So if you call a Dominican or a Haitian or a Jamaican or any one of these people, okay, any other black individual from some other country, if you call them black or you call them black American, listen, those might as well be fighting words, because they'll tell you straight to your face, I'm Jamaican, I'm Dominican, I'm Haitian. Don't confuse me. I am not black American. And that's what they mean. It's not that they're not black. Obviously, you're talking to a black Dominican, and he's blacker than black. He himself, knows, that he's, black, you're white, whatever it is. It's more about what does it mean in the USA to be black. So in the USA, when you say you are black, okay, or that descriptor of black, what that really means is that you are a black American, meaning you were born in the USA to black parents, okay, that were also born in the USA at some point. So for example, if you could be half black, half white. Again, your dad or mom was black, maybe one generation, two generations, a black American, okay, American, all right, and your parents white from wherever. But long story short, that would still be considered black, because again, what that really means is that it's someone that's coming from, or it came from, let's say they came from Africa as slaves, or they have been in the USA for multiple generations. So there's descriptors, okay, within the black community, within black people, as to what black means, and black Americans more specifically, okay, and so on and so forth. Because again, you're talking to a black Cuban, and they consider themselves Cuban, or a black Dominican, they consider themselves Dominican. That's it. Or maybe a black Dominican. Okay? So that's the thing. You know what I mean? It's they either consider themselves black Dominicans or Dominicans. That's it. So within themselves, like I said, within the black community, they're always fighting amongst each other because they don't like it. You know what I mean? Again, if you're a black individual from another country, you don't want to be confused or labeled as Nigerian or Haitian, especially if you are Jamaican or Dominican or American, so that's the thing. Because look, the same thing happens with Latinos. I'm Cuban, but if all of a sudden, like, I'm in another part of the USA and someone calls me Mexican, those are fighting words. Those are, I mean, it's the one thing is like if it's another American or a white person or someone that doesn't know anything about the cultures and they call me Mexican, okay, I'll correct them and I'll be like, hey, look, I'm not Mexican, I'm Cuban. All right? That's no big deal. We let it slide. But if another Latino, okay, another Latino straight up fucking calls me Mexican, oh, those are, we're fighting. Why are you calling me Mexican? Don't you know I'm Cuban? You should know I'm Cuban. You're Puerto Rican. You're Dominican. You should know. I know. And then, that's when, like, it's the fight. Because it's like, all I can say is, like, let's say you're in the USA, okay, and you are from Texas, okay? It doesn't matter what color skin you are, okay? But you are Texan, and they call you someone from California, okay? You're going to get insulted. If you're a Texan and they confuse you with a person from California, listen, you're going to throw hands. We're going to fight. What do you mean what do you mean I'm from California? And vice versa. You're in California and you call somebody from LA a Texan, when they're born and raised in San Diego. They're probably going to get in a fight. Probably not, because, they're a little bit more chill over there. But that's what I'm trying to get at. And so, believe it or not, Trump actually made a great point. At least for me, you know what I mean? Like, again, me, I'm neutral throughout this whole thing. I want Trump to win for the lulz, okay? But I don't really give a crap who wins, If, Kamala wins, the Democrats win, there's negatives and there's positives to that, just like there's negatives and there's positives to Trump winning. So it is what it is. I'm not going to get into it. But to me, it's like I would rather have Trump, be president just because of the lulz, as the kids say, the lulz, the laughing out loud, the funny, the memes, the Trump. Okay, so with what he was just doing right here, I mean, come on. This is just a taste of what we've been missing for the last 4 years. And imagine when this guy's back in the White House and it's just every day he's going to be, attacking, trolling, you name it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be great. Again, at least for the entertainment purposes, all right? So, right now, him going after Kamala, Camel Toe, whatever you want to call her, the reality is that, yeah, it makes sense for him to go after her because she's not black. I mean, that's like, imagine if, like, Trump starts calling himself black. One thing is for people, his followers or his haters or, again, other people calling him black, calling Bill Clinton black. Hey, these guys are black. They're honorary black people. Again, the joke, the running joke is that Trump is black because he has 3 baby mamas. He's been to prison. He's been shot at. I can go on and on. You know what I mean? Like, he's been in rap videos. He loves gold. I can go on and on. Okay, so he's pretty black. And then when you look at Kamala, she's not that black. She's just as black as Neil deGrasse Tyson. And that's whatever. That's okay. It's, nothing wrong with that. But just, kind of, if we're going to go down the cultural significance of what it means to be called black or what have you, okay? If that's the case, Trump is 100% more black than Kamala. And so, and up until yesterday, I thought Kamala Harris was black, meaning both her parents were black Americans, or at the very least, she was mixed, right? Black American, from Oakland, right? Because that's where she's from. And then, she had a white mom or a white dad, kind of like Obama, right? Obama, he was, I think his mom was white, his dad was black, right? I know some people, like Trump said he's from Somalia or where the fuck was he from? He's somewhere in Africa, But the point is that, okay, now when we're talking about Kamala for a second here, it's kind of like a similar situation because, the reality is that, what she really is that she is Caribbean and Indian, okay? Or she's American, or she's, again, she's mixed, because again, her mom is Indian from India, Punjab, eating fucking samosas, eating curry, that kind of shit, okay? That's her mom. Her mom is India. Again, I got to find it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hold on.
Mr. President,
sorry. Hold on. Uno segundo, because my friend sent this to me. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So I wanted to see if I can find it. Where was it? Something on Twitter my friend sent me. Or maybe it was me when I found it. Whatever. Who cares? The point is that, there's tons of evidence, online that you see, Kamala hanging out with her Indian family. She's very, very, very Indian. Where is that video? Man, I wish he was around right now so he can help me out with that. He can send me that video. My producer's taking a day off today. I don't know where he's at. Damn, where is it? I wanted to find that video. But anyways, long story short. Oh, there it is. Okay, here. We'll watch it. There it is. Found it.
Who, my mother, who raised me and my sister, was a proud woman. She was a brown woman. She was a woman with a heavy accent.
And her mother, Shamla Gopalan, was also the biggest influence in Kamala Harris's life.
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe.
After the big announcement, Harris's sister wrote in a Twitter post, "You can't know who Kamala Harris is without knowing who our mother was." In 1958, a precocious 19-year-old Indian, Gopalan traveled thousands of miles from her home and family to pursue a doctorate in nutrition and endocrinology in America. She soon became an active civil rights crusader while studying at UC Berkeley.
But once she went there, she almost felt free.
Look, I get the reason I'm covering this is just simply because why is she, I'm talking about Kamala Harris, why is she not leaning into her heritage, her Indian heritage and her Jamaican heritage? I mean, seriously, you know how many Indians are in the USA? And most Indians, they lean conservative. So why wouldn't she lean into her background, her heritage, and so to get those votes from that crowd, and the same with Jamaicans. There's tons of Jamaicans in the USA. You kidding me?
And she took part in politics. She used to bring a whole series of literature, leftist literature from Karl Popper's, he was a great philosopher.
In her book, Harris says, "There is no title or honor on earth I'll treasure more than to say I am Shamla Gopalan Harris's daughter." Harris's visits to India with her mother kept her connected to her roots. Her grandfather, who had strong views on humanitarian issues, worked closely with officials to reallocate refugees. Their conversations had a strong influence on her.
Those walks along the beach in India really planted something in my mind and created a commitment in me before I even realized it. That has led me to where I am today.
Harris's maternal uncle, Gopalan Balachandran, who lives in Delhi, tells us how the senator turns to her Amma, which means mother in Tamil, for guidance even after her death.
I don't have to tell her, make your mother proud. She said, what are you telling me? Everything that I do, I ask myself, would Amma approve of this?
Kamala in Hindi means lotus flower and is an important symbol in Indian culture, rooted deep in the bottom of the river. Very similar to Harris's Indian identity, which she wears on her sleeve. There's no doubt that the primary source of learning for Senator Harris was from her mother's experiences and the conversations that she had with her maternal grandfather when she visited India, which was very often accompanying her mother, or when the grandparents would visit them in America. Back to you, Rosemary.
So, yeah, just going back to that. So, she's Indian as fuck, okay? I don't know what else to say. All right, and again, even her name, Kamala Devi Harris or whatever. I mean, are you kidding me? I dated somebody when I was in Seattle. Her name was Debbie, all right? So, she can't get any more Indian than that. But all I'm saying is that why does she not lean more into that? Why does she not lean more into, her Jamaican roots and her heritage and her dad and stuff like that? And why does she have to go out there and lie, and say that she's black, that she's blacker than black, when she's really not? I mean, again, one thing is to identify with the culture. One thing is to be part of that. But to be, Rachel Dolezal style, I don't know if you guys know who Rachel Dolezal is, but, she was a white woman that basically identified as black and went full black, all right? She turned from white to black, kind of like the opposite of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was black and he turned white. So that's what Trump was saying, which was,
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black. until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
So it's like, a few years ago, she just happened to turn black. And so to me, it's like, I don't know. We're bringing this up. I'm talking about this today because it's the crazy world that we're living in right now, where all of a sudden you're questioning these things, or you're talking about any of this stuff, and it's like you're gaslighting people, or you are evil, or you are a Trump supporter, or on the other side. Again, I make fun of Trump. I'm not saying he's our savior or anything like that. He is part of the deep state. He's also one of them. There's one big club, and they're all in it together, except for us. It's basically, Trump has his rich billionaires and corporations he has to take care of. Kamala, same thing. She has her rich billionaires and supporters that she has to take care of, and they're both on two different teams, but they're in another universe. They're in another league compared to what we're playing. We're out here, playing Little League, and they're playing in the major leagues, okay? So it's two different worlds, okay? Two different, different stakes, different everything. But, so to me, it's, like I said, I only want him in power, just because the laughter, the lulls, might as well be laughing all the way down. Kind of like Emperor Nero, was playing his fiddle as Rome burned to the ground, kind of like the same shit. But either way, either one who wins is just as horrible. And Trump has his skeletons in his closet and his, things that are not savory of him and his background and what he's done. But that's not the point. The point is what I'm trying to get at here is just that we're living in a world in which, again, Kamala Harris, just years ago, when she was basically going up against, and she was trying to win the Democratic nomination. Again, when it was 2020 and it was Trump versus everyone on the Democratic side. And, she was, up on the debate stage, during the Democratic primaries. It was her, Biden, all the people, all the Democrats out there. And basically they picked Biden to go up against Trump. And then they picked Kamala, okay, to be the vice president. But up until then, let's not forget that Kamala, at the end of the day, she was in the Democratic race, okay? And she was in last place. Of all the Democrats that were out there, she was in last place. In fact, someone like Elizabeth Warren, a real Indian, a real American Indian, someone like her, she got more votes from the black community. She got more votes from Indians. She got more votes from minorities. And that's Elizabeth freaking Warren, Pocahontas herself, okay? So Pocahontas, was able to get more support than Kamala. And so basically she is the least popular representative that the Democrats have had in God knows how long. And then she has also been the least popular vice president in the history of vice presidents. And yet it's like overnight, everyone is supposed to forget about that. And now overnight, it's supposed to be like, oh, Kamala Harris is the most popular. She is the best leader. She is going to take us to the, the finish line, or, she's really here for, the betterment of everyone else, and so on and so forth. And, a lot of people don't want to admit or even look at her record, how horrible it's been, all the things that she's done in California. All the people that have been represented by her, who are not fans of her. That goes to show you right there, because it's like, at least, one can say something positive about her if, like, the people in her district in California, the people in California, had wonderful things to say about her. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, I in Texas or in Florida might not agree, with her, but it seems like the people of her state and the people that voted for her, find her very popular, but they don't. Even the people that voted for her, don't find her popular. In fact, her district, from my understanding, was was San Francisco. So she's the one that basically turned San Francisco into what it is. All right, and so on and so forth. And then we all know of all the things that she's done as well, where she kept people in prison longer than they needed to be, to use them as chain gang, free labor, slave labor, XYZ, and so on and so forth. So, she has not been good. Okay, she has definitely not been a good. And she was a DA. You know, a lot of people, you know, it's like, oh, she wasn't a cop. Bro, she was a DA. Do people even know what a freaking DA is? A DA is like the top cop. That's like the worst cop, okay? And if you got a corrupt police force and corrupt, you know, police situation over there, well, the DA has to be the most corrupt. So, yeah, no, I mean, you know, to me, it's just like how people make all these excuses, you know, for her, just like they do for Trump, you know, as to, you know, how amazing they are. You know, again, tons of people make all these excuses, again, for Trump. You know, again, you know, right now, let's not forget, he was in power already for 4 years. And what did he do in those 4 years that he was in power? Nothing. Did he drain the swamp? No, he didn't. You know, did he help Wall Street? Yes, he did. You know, was he, you know, helping supply weapons to Ukraine and other areas? Yes, he was. You know, and I can go on and on. You know, so it's not like he was great or perfect or anything. But like I said, if I had to choose between him and Kamala, I'm only picking him because if we pick him, well, we're laughing. We're laughing with him. You know, he's a stand-up comic, for crying out loud. So you're laughing at the stand-up comedy. But if you pick her, you know, you're basically laughing, you know, to keep yourself from crying, okay, out of depression. And, you know, you're laughing at her just like you're laughing at Biden. Okay, and yes, I know we're laughing at Trump as well, but, you know, a lot of times, you know, he has some jokes. The guy comes with jokes, okay? So you're laughing at his jokes as well. It's not just laughing at him, okay? So, but that's another story, another day, okay? That's not the point. The point I'm making is just the fact that, you know, the clown show that we're in right now, you know, just a simple and, you know, idea of the fact that, you know, right now in the United States, for example, people are up in arms over Venezuela, for example. And, you know, a lot of people in the USA is like, oh, we got to, you know, the sham elections that happened in Venezuela. It's like, well, what about the sham elections in the USA? Oh, look at all those people on the streets protesting. By the way, don't forget to hit the likes. Thanks for liking and subscribing and sharing. But anyways, you know, right now, you know, they're being told, the American people are being told, hey, look at the people in Venezuela. They're on the streets. They're protesting. It's a sham election, yada, yada, yada. But what about when that happened in the USA? What about the people in the streets that were screaming sham election? What about the January 6th? What about all that stuff? So what? Were they right? Who's right? You know, who's wrong? You know, so it's the whole thing, man. It's all a game, and it's just like people. If you know, most people don't do their homework. Most people just look at the mainstream media. Most people just look at what's out there, and that's it. Now, again, I am Cuban. You know, my parents are Cuban. I don't like communism. I am not a fan of communism. I do not sympathize with communism. I want communism to fall, not just in Cuba, but in Venezuela and the USA and other countries in which there's communism. I'm sorry, the USA is not communist. It's just, it looks like communism, right? If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. I got confused. But anyways, the point is that, you know, I'm not a fan of communism. So of course, you know what I mean? If communism could be taken away from Venezuela or Cuba or whatever, I would, you know, be happy about that. But we also got to be fully aware that some people out there, you know, there are Venezuelans, there are Cubans, you know, there are people that want communism. Just like in the USA, we got to accept that there are people that will vote for Kamala, that will vote blue no matter who, that did elect Biden fair and square, okay, that do want communism in the USA, that do want certain things, okay, you know, for everyone to be, let's say, masked up or put in jail for not taking a vaccine or for talking bad about XYZ person, not this person, just that person, and so on and so forth. You know, that double standard that just exists on both ends. Okay, so, and then it's funny because it's like, I remember when Trump was going to before he got elected and when he got elected, you know, one of the things that he promised is that he was going to put her in jail. You know, he was going to put Hillary in jail, right? And then he was going to put, you know, all these people from the swamp in jail, and he was going to go hard against these people. And did he do any of that? No, he didn't. But then the Democrats, when they got into power, what did they do? Well, they started putting everyone in jail. They started disappearing people. I mean, again, they look at what they did to Trump. Look how they put him in jail. Look how they shot him. Look how they did all the things that they did. So, there's things that people don't want to look at. Right now, people are, if you talk to people on the left, they say that the people on the right are, constantly creating a hostile environment and doing all kinds of aggressive and hostile things. But when you really look at what's going on, who is the one that's on the street protesting? Who's the ones that are, stealing and looting and doing all these horrible things? Who's the one that's, doing, again, all this aggression and violence, and it's the left. And so it's just this weird double standard and this weird kind of like situation that we're living in right now. And everyone is basically very angry. And they're all angry at each other, and they're all pointing fingers at each other. I mean, look at right now with the whole thing with the Olympics. I mean, people losing their mind because, of the whole show. By the way, I am not a fan of super woke culture, okay? But again, if you want to be gay, you want to be trans, you want to be Zer, I don't give a crap what you want to be. You do you. But don't be forcing anything down my throat or anyone's throat or a kid's, whatever. So I'm not a fan of the story hour, drag queen story hour. I'm not a fan of certain things, all right? But, I don't care what you do in your bedroom, with your life. That's you. You do you. But what I'm saying is that how, all of a sudden, people losing their fucking minds over the fucking, that show. What is it? The Olympics show at the beginning of the Olympics. And then people losing their mind. Oh, one of the people had their balls, hanging out. And, for the longest time, I didn't want to even look that up because I don't want to see some guy's balls. But, again, surfing through the internet, eventually the picture shows up of the guy's one ball hanging loose from his costume. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, when I was watching the diving competition the other day with Christian, I saw more balls hanging out of banana hammocks, right? Or Speedos, okay, than I did, from these people dressed up like freaking, whatever. So it's like, what's going on here? What are we doing here? Why the double standard? And again, yes, I know that there's a lot of people on the ultra left, that are, all about, playing with little kids. But guess what? There's people on the ultra right that also like to play little kids. Just go ask the Catholic Church or go ask the church about that and see what they have to say about it. So it's on both ends. So it's like, why is it only one side or the other? Why can't both sides just fucking admit that they're both full of fucking, I can't even say the word, but pedophiles, okay? Children lovers, whatever. It's like, come on, man. The whole thing is wrong and awful, and it should not be accepted by anyone, period, in the story. Why only accepted by one group or the other? So, and I could go on. But anyways, and so, the whole thing where people losing their minds, they're attacking Christianity, they're attacking all of us, they're attacking 2 million Christians. And I'm like, bro, this is the Olympics. This is the world. There's 8 billion people in the world, and 2 million are being offended. What's that? Less than 2%? 0.2%? Really? So the Olympics is just trying to, I mean, and then you tell someone, that's very offended by what happened during the Olympics, you tell them straight up, hey, did you hear that Iran, the Muslims, they're also upset over that? All of a sudden they want to talk about something else. It's like, because they're supposed to be enemies with Iran. It's like, the whole thing is just fucking clown world. It's just clown world. You can't even talk about the fucking weather. All of a sudden I say, oh, it's very hot outside. I got to have my air conditioner running a little more than usual. Oh, that's global warming. And then someone else will say, oh, it's not global warming. That's the government with HARP. And it's like, and you can't just say, well, what about it's hot? It's just the weather. What about the fact that, maybe it's just an El Nino year? And people are like, no, oh, you must be one of those guys. What do you mean? How can you say that? What are you trying to say? That global warming is real? I never said that. So what are you saying, that HARP doesn't exist? I never said that either. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, fuck, man. And it's like, just people just fucking losing their minds over every little itty bitty thing. Jen, by the way, shout out to everyone in the audience, in the chat. thank you for joining me today. I really wasn't, I was not expecting anyone to come out today. I was expecting maybe 1 or 2 viewers. I was not expecting, so many viewers. So I really appreciate you guys being able to make it today. All right. But anyways, Jen says, Jose, I've never seen people as angry over politics as now. People need to calm the fuck down. I totally agree. And I talk to all kinds of people, man. I talk to people that are older, and they've seen it all. They've seen all kinds of shit in the USA, even during the civil rights movement. They were alive during all that. And even, it's worse today than it was back then. I'll talk to people on the right, super ultra conservatives, and they'll tell me, listen, we got to support Israel because we got to go out there, and they'll give me their reasoning, and then they'll basically say, yeah, the reason we got to go out there and we got to take over that land and kill the Muslims and blah, 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 is so that, God can come back and the apocalypse comes and then it's the end of the world. I'm like, but I don't want that. There's a lot of people that don't want that. Why do you want the end of the world? Why do you want the apocalypse? Why? And then you talk to people that are ultra left, same age group, boomers, whatever, and they'll let you know same thing. Oh, I wish Trump would have got shot and died, blah, blah, blah. Oh, why do you say that? Why would you want anyone to die? Why do you want anyone to get shot? By the way, again, I didn't want Trump to get shot or Kamala or Joe or anyone, okay? So anyways, but you ask them, why do you want that to happen? And they'll tell you the same thing. You'll be like, oh, we just want this whole fucking thing to just end already. We just want a civil war to happen. We want everything to just, again, apocalypse. But again, instead of the religious apocalypse, it's more of the a user-created apocalypse, okay? But either way, it's like both boomers, both ends of the spectrum, they're both looking for the end of the world or the apocalypse. And it's like, but what about everyone else? What about your kids? What about your grandkids? You want the end of the world to happen to them? Or do you want them to be living in fallout? You want them to be living in, the aftermath of World War III? I don't understand how you can have this, mentality of like, just burn it all down. Again, I get it, for an 18 or 19-year-old, punk-ass kid. I used to be one. To want to burn it all down, when you're that age. But when you're 65, are you serious? I don't know. So there's just too many things like that. And then everyone in the middle is either caught in the middle or they're being forced on one side or the other. And it's, it's very polarizing. It's very negative. It's very not bueno. And then you got all kinds of shit in the middle. You know what I mean? Like I said, like right now, all the things that they go after, Trump for. But then you see the things that they do on the left, and they don't go after those, people for that. All of a sudden, like, Trump, is caught in a lie, and it's all over the news. They don't stop talking about whatever bullshit he said. And then, again, Kamala out here pretending to be black, or, all the things that she does, all the things that Joe does, all the things, it's like, why does nobody ever talk about those things? You know what I mean? So it's like the double standard, and how the country is kind of ideologically captured on one end, and then the rest of the country is kind of fighting up against that. But it's like, again, you guys live in the USA. You guys know right now how you can't talk about almost anything anymore because you'll get in a fight with somebody about anything. And so, yeah, Alex Schmidt says, not that it's a bad thing to be a degenerate. No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with being a degenerate. Just admit that you're a degenerate, and that's it. Or you don't have to make excuses for being that, but at least own it, right? Own the fact that you might be that you are a degenerate or whatever it is. But yeah, to me, it's just like I feel like we're living in a very, very weird and strange time at the moment. Yeah, most people are just not, I don't know. It's just that they would rather just fight against each other than to just look in the mirror and admit that they were wrong, or admit that they were lied to, or admit that things are not right and that they need to, everyone needs to fix this. And that's the thing. I think that what it all boils down to is the fact that, people need to do more introspective. They need to look more within and look at, why things are the way they are. And most people they don't want to accept responsibility for their actions, or they don't want to accept responsibilities for anything that they do or nothing like that. And that's basically the world that we live in. Where it's just we're living with a bunch of man-childs. We're living with a bunch of people that are overgrown children. All right, that again, not only do they not want to take responsibility for their own actions, but then they force you, the younger generation, to now take responsibility for your own action or to do things that they never did. And then again, at the very least, the previous generations, they got taught what to do or what not to do by their parents or grandparents. All right, but we never got taught that. We were just basically, especially again, Gen X going forward, we were just thrown into the wolves. We had to take care of ourselves. We had to, be self-sufficient as kids. Eventually we had to take care of our parents, and so on and so forth. And it's like all this extra responsibility that we have, as, these generations, that are now taking over. And we can't even fully take over because, the older previous generations are in power and they don't want to relinquish power. And then they keep blaming us for all the problems that are going on in the world when they're the ones in power. They're the ones creating it. They're the ones, basically fomenting this horribleness. Hold on a second. And so, yeah, it's like kind of like the world that we're living in, like it's just such a funny, I guess funny, funny because you got to laugh, right? Again, this is why in the thumbnail you guys saw, you guys see me there, like it was just me in my clown suit. That's what I dressed up as Halloween last year. I was the Joker. All right. But that's basically how I feel at the moment. So, right now when I saw, okay, let me just play it again real quick. But when I first heard this yesterday and I saw this,
no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now.
So when I saw that, obviously, you see, I keep chuckling and laughing when I keep seeing it. But when I saw it, I definitely was laughing and chuckling yesterday over that. But what I was saying is the fact that immediately that laughter, that chuckle, made me kind of realize, maybe things will be okay. They won't be so bad, especially if it seems like they've selected him. Remember, it's not an election; it's a selection. So it seems like they've selected Trump. Again, like I was saying earlier, they put him up against the most unpopular Democrat. Like, again, Joe Biden wasn't unpopular enough, even though he was really the most unpopular, and yet he won last election because of all the, propaganda out there. But now this time around, it's like they just took Joe out of there. We don't even want to, we don't want to risk it. So let's put Kamala in there to make sure that the Democrats lose for real and that Trump gets elected. But what I was saying is that, just looking at this, just seeing this, laughing, the whole thing, it kind of gave me a little bit of, made me feel good about the situation, meaning that, well, at least we'll be laughing the next 4 years. Hopefully he does get elected so that we can be laughing every single day instead of crying, instead of being depressed, instead of being, whatever. Just in a negative mentality. We would be, we'll be able to enjoy life a little bit more. Again, like kind of seeing Nero playing the fiddle as Rome burns to the ground. All right, hey, 1 second. I gotta let Gizmo out. Hold on. He's acting like a fool. 1 second.
I'm not fucking leaving!
You know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on! This is my home! They're gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out of here! They're gonna need to send in the National Guard of fucking SWAT
So, anyways, so yeah, I mean, to me, it's just a giant shit show. It's me. My parents are Cuban. I grew up in Miami, so the whole idea of a banana republic or very incoherent and just horrible government is not a new thing to me. Again, literally, the whole term banana republic, is because of the government and the government structures that come from certain countries and certain islands in the Caribbean and so on and so forth. And so, me as a Cuban, we had a banana republic going on in my parents' home country. Other people, coming from Venezuela or coming from other Caribbean islands or coming from, from Latin America, most people, came from a banana republic, third world government, country, whatever, right? And so, we were kind of used to that. But again, one thing is, knowing about it from your family and friends and cousins and whatever, as opposed to living in it. But as the years went on in the USA, I started to realize, oh, this is a banana republic. This is turning into exactly what my parents' country had turned into, what other countries in Latin America turned into, whether they turned into the banana republics on their own or the U.S. had, an intervention, a coup, spreading freedom, whatever you want to call it. Just like right now in Venezuela, that's what the U.S. is really trying to do. They're just, why do they care about that country and not any other country which, is going through the same thing or worse, when it comes to elections, when it comes to other things. Why they care about Venezuela? Oil. And so because of that, because of seeing, just like what the U.S. has done, what they're capable of, and now seeing it in the U.S., seeing the actual U.S. turn into that. Seeing the actual U.S. right now, where before they used to at least lie to the public or at least play the game or pretend a little bit more to allow the people to, at least, swallow the lie, swallow the whole idea a little easier. But in today's world, they don't even hide it anymore. They just blatantly do it in your face like a banana republic. Basically it's like, yeah, we're going to have elections. But this person won with 95% of the vote. What the fuck you mean 95%? Or 117%? What do you mean 117%? Where'd the other 17% come from? That kind of stuff. And so that's already going on in the USA. It's been going on in the USA. All right. And the fact that most people cannot even see it. Most Americans can't see it. Most Americans can't believe it. Most Americans, they don't even want to accept it. The fact that that's what it's turned into, that's what it's become, that it has become a third world country. It does have a third world kind of government running it. They don't get to, elections are not a thing anymore. They're fake, and everything is just, they tell you what to do. They tell you what they're going to do. They don't care about your opinion or what you have to say or if you're going to do something about it, because they know you're not going to do anything about it. So that's why they continue doing what they do. And so that to me has been like the most, kind of like shocking thing of all, seeing how the country has just spiraled out of control and people have allowed it to do so. And, again, everything from like COVID, for me, the most insane part, the most difficult part of the whole COVID situation was seeing how many people believed the lie or how many people chose not to think for themselves or how many people were led by fear and so on and so forth. And so obviously, that did not bode well for me because I was like, well, I figured in my head if the world ever were to go into a pandemic or a situation like that the people would rise up and they would push back and fight back. That's not what we saw at all. We saw it in pockets here and there, but most of the people did not fight back. They just bent over backwards or bent forward or whatever, and they just say, stick it in there, no Vaseline, thank you, sir, can I have another? That's what happened. And so then what happened again, during the last election? Look, a lot of people want to say that, and again, it could have happened. Of course it could have happened. It's a 1,000% could have happened that they stole the election. That's how Biden won. But, you know, one thing that a lot of people just don't want to accept, which is also a reality of something that most likely did happen, is that a lot of people voted for Biden. That's a crazy thing. That's a thing that a lot of people just also don't want to accept, that he actually did win fair and square. Okay? So, you know, not coming forward to where we are today, you know, nothing surprises me anymore. You know, nothing at all. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when I see Trump now, you know, getting back into game shape and, you know, starting to make fun of Kamala or go after her or, you know, do all the things that he's done to get the lulls, to get the laughter, to get, well, it's, okay, when I'm seeing all that, it's giving me, you know, nostalgia. It's giving me back, you know, 2016 vibes, you know, back when it was him, you know, Trump versus Hillary Clinton. And that's what I'm starting to feel like, okay, we might be going down this route. It might be Trump that gets already selected, that he's already selected. But nobody knows. It would not surprise me at all one bit if Kamala wins. Okay? Just like, you know, if Trump wins. It's up in the air. You would think it wouldn't be, right? You would think it's basically a done deal that Trump won, that he's going to win, right? Because if you're really polling the people, you know, most everybody will tell you Trump. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there, and you know them, you know some of these people that are going to vote blue no matter who. And all of a sudden, you know, they are behind Kamala no matter how horrible she was, no matter what happened, only because they were told Orange Man bad, so now we got to go against Orange Man, or vice versa. You know, where nobody on the right, you know, nobody can, you know, consider themselves a conservative or right leaning, you know, will ever even want to hear a leftist point of view at all. You know, they don't even want to entertain it at all. And so that's where we're at right now. We're a very, very polarizing kind of, you know, part of a U.S. history. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, I was one of them, you know, have been talking about for years that either we're going to go to World War III or Civil War. And, you know, as time has gone on, I have been more leaning towards World War III, thinking that's where we're going. But as, you know, as we're, you know, the things that have happened in the last few months, it's been more like, wow, we could actually be going towards Civil War. Like if Trump would have gotten shot, imagine, you know, the turmoil that would have caused. You know, we'd probably be in the Civil War right now. Right now during the elections, you know, when the elections happen, let's say Kamala wins, you know, Camel Toe wins. I mean, what would happen then? Do you think the people will accept it? We already saw what happened during January 6th, or vice versa. Let's say Trump wins. Do you think that the Democrats are really going to accept it, or are they going to, you know, go out en masse and start protesting, you know, all around the nation? So, and then what's that going to spark? What's the next thing? And so on and so forth. So that's a real concern. And so even the people that are in power, the powers that be, you know, the swamp, you know, one of the things that they're actually trying to do is start World War III as soon as possible. Because their idea, what they want, the people in power, what they really want is a zig-a-zig-ah. No, anyways, what they really want is to get all the people on the same page, get all the American people on the same page. But right now, you know, as it sits, it does, again, you as Americans know this better than I do, living in the USA at the moment, it seems like it's almost impossible to get people on the left and the right to be on the same team. All right? And to kind of put their differences aside for a minute and be on the same team. It doesn't seem like that's happening. It seems like it just keeps, you know, they keep getting further and further away from each other. And, you know, right now, you know, again, we can look at what could have caused that. We know that a lot of what caused that has to do with outside intervention. You know, basically, you know, other countries, you know, China, Russia, whatever. Pick a country. There's many countries in the US, many countries in the world that want to destabilize the USA. But, you know, let's just stick with who we know is actually doing it, like China. And they're doing things, you know, again, we're like messing up with TikTok or Instagram or all these things where, you know, they shoot, they sense things. Sorry, they put videos and propaganda in front of the American people in order for them to be, you know, all the way to the left or all the way to the right. And so, you know, the people, you know, there are powers that be, you know, countries, powers, whatever, outside of the USA that want to destroy the USA. They want the USA to fall. You know, the ideology, the empire. I could go on and on. So it's maybe, you know, a lot of that too. You know what I mean? The fact that all these outside influences are trying to cause all this civil unrest within the USA in order for the USA to implode. And that way, you know, China doesn't have to go into a hot war and try to defeat the USA that way. It'd be better if the USA could just blow itself up, right? It'd be a lot easier, correct? So it's a lot of things like that, okay? Just like the USA spreads its own influence, and the USA has used that playbook all over the world in many countries, well, now it's happening in the USA. And so the USA, the people in power, believe it or not, even though they're kind of like fighting against each other, you know that all the people in government, for the most part, all the people in power, for the most part, they're all on the same team. They're all on the same team. So do they really want the left and the right, you know, the drag queen story hour people and the super religious people to really be fighting against each other? Or would they rather have them be kumbaya and then fighting against, you know, some other entity outside? So that's really what they want, okay? But there's so many factors that are kind of causing the USA to kind of implode from within. So I think, you know, the powers that be, they really do want to get everybody on the same page. They want all Americans to go. They want to have another 9/11 moment. And we almost did. You know, again, when Trump got shot in the ear, when he got his ear pierced a few weeks ago, that was supposed to be a 9/11 moment. And it wasn't. It was the complete opposite, okay? So, I mean, think about it. Imagine back 25 years ago, 24 years ago, or whenever it happened. But imagine back during 9/11, if as soon as 9/11 happened, that we had half of the population of the U.S. basically, you know, screaming from the top of their lungs, oh, the USA deserved that. We're going to side with the terrorist. So that's kind of like where we're at in the USA right now, where, you know, something happened where, you know, the president got shot and half of the people wanted him to get shot, and then the other half did not want to get shot. So it's the same thing again, like during 9/11. Again, imagine that, you know, half the people, you know, they wanted someone to pay for this, you know, this crime, this terrorist attack, and then the other people were, you know, sympathizing with the terrorist. So again, and during 9/11, it didn't matter what you believed in, didn't matter where you stood politically, it didn't matter on many things. Everybody got all on the same page. Team USA. Again, back then, I was very left-leaning, very anarchistic, you know, left-leaning anarchist. I was very, you know, just a typical freaking lefty kid, you know, back in the day. And as soon as 9/11 happened, you know, I was all about the war. I was all about, you know, let's go kill some, you know, terrorists. I was all about Team USA, you know. So, but that did not happen this time around. And maybe they will do something like that in the future to get everybody on the same page. But we don't know. You know, it seems like right now, it seems like all they're trying to do is just keep, you know, keep the USA from, all they're trying to do is continue having the American people fighting amongst themselves and fighting against each other and creating more of that toxic environment and toxic situation. And we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it in the politics. We're seeing it in the elections. We're seeing it in so many things. Again, you can't talk about the weather. You can't talk about the Olympics. You can't talk about anything. You can't talk. There's nothing you can talk about without people losing their fucking minds, you know? And, you know, there's a reason for all that. And, I mean, you can see it. It's all about distraction. It's all about look at this. Don't look at what we're doing. You should just look at, you know, the guy's balls hanging out. You should go look at, you know, this guy getting shot at. Or you should go, you know, let's go, you know, keep your eyes on the fact that now Trump called Kamala not black, right? Or whatever it is. They want to keep you distracted with other bullshit as opposed to, you know, keeping your eye on the ball as to what's really, really going on. Because if the American people really, really knew what was going on, we wouldn't be, you know, putting up with any of this shit. You know, most of the American people would have already taken the government back and taken over and started a revolution and all this other shit. But, you know, most people are just, you know, they're comfortable. They're lazy. They don't want to deal with any of that shit. They don't even want to fathom or think about the idea of the fact that the USA is also, you know, that it has turned into a third world country and that all freedoms have been lost. And then in order for you to get those freedoms back in the USA, that you have to fight for those freedoms. You have to, you know, take them back. And most people don't want to accept that. Most people don't want to, don't want to fight for their right to party. In your opinion, which candidate is best overall in Mexico's perspective? I don't know. I don't think most Mexicans really give a crap. Most Mexicans do not hate Trump. Okay? Most Mexicans do not hate Trump. Okay? So just FYI. And they don't really know, nor do they care about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. All right? So Mexicans, the reality is that, yeah, they enjoy the fact that Trump is the way he is. They like the fact that Trump is all about America, and staying away from intervening in other countries and so on and so forth. And, so I don't know. I don't think Mexican really cares. I think Mexico, it doesn't really matter who wins. Mexico's in a completely different position at the moment, than it used to be in the past. So now, really, Mexico doesn't really care who wins. Mexico holds the cards, and it's as simple as, whoever wins in the USA has to play ball with Mexico. And so Trump had a great relationship with Mexico. So, Trump gets elected, great. Mexico, is going to benefit them. And same thing with Kamala, meaning that, Kamala was just basically didn't do jack shit. Kamala was the one that was supposed to be in charge of the border and in charge of certain things, and she didn't do anything. So she's just basically almost like a non-existent president, a non-existent entity. So, again, Mexico doesn't really care, who's going to run the show, whether it's Kamala or another Democrat or whatever it is. Mexico is holding certain cards in their hands. And, this is, basically the way Mexico's telling the USA is like, look, this is the way it's going to be, whether you like it or not. And, the USA is not in a position right now to really force Mexico to do one thing or the other, or fight them, or do anything like that. They can't, they need Mexico more than Mexico needs the USA. Now, they both need each other very much, okay? It's a symbiotic relationship. They need each other. They're like tied at the hip like this. But the reality is that, right now the US has more to lose by severing that relationship than Mexico does, all right? Because, again, there's a whole big world out there, and Mexico can just sell or do trade with other countries around the world that want and need, all the things that come out of here. It's just that, they would rather just deal with the USA because it's just crossing the border. They already got a strong relationship with them, but they don't care. You know what I mean? So that's the way I see it. I see that, like, now Mexico's in a position where they don't got to take the U.S.'s shit anymore like they used to. So hope that helps answer that question. But yeah, coming down to it, like, I think that a lot of countries around the world are in a similar position, where, for example, when Trump was president, a lot of countries, they were a little bit more reserved as to their policies and what they were going to do because they were afraid of what Trump could do in retaliation. But with Biden in power, well, you've already seen, look at all the countries doing whatever the fuck they want. And all over the world, they're just all fucking going hog wild because it's like, while, like the old saying goes, the mice will play while the cat's away. So right now, again, the cat is the USA. And with Biden or Kamala or whoever the hell's in power, the cat is not, around. So all these countries are basically doing whatever the F they want. But if Trump gets it back in power, it's the idea that, the cat is, again, the strong figure is coming back into power and not going to allow certain things to happen. So that's what we're going to look at right now. Marco says the highest peso value of the dollar is bad. Anyway, so, that's what we're looking at right now. We are, kind of seeing it that, it might be best, for international peace to have someone like Trump in power, but we don't know. Trump wants war as well. Don't get it twisted. Trump wants to go to war against China, or at least pivot towards, going to war with China, not going to war with Russia. He also wants to be, more aggressive with other countries, including Mexico, and it is what it is. So we'll see. We don't really know until it all kind of like plays out and sees itself. But just from past experience, having Trump in power and being in Mexico during that time, they got along great, and I feel like it's going to be the same situation there. But I don't know how it's going to be with Kamala in power. Nobody does really, So it is kind of like a shot in the dark there, I think most Mexicans don't really care. So they're not really that attached to the whole situation. But I think if you ask the typical Mexican, they will most likely vote for Trump or back Trump or at least sympathize more with Trump, or like Trump more than Kamala Harris or anyone else. So, but yeah, look, long story short, guys, at the end of the day, the reason I was, talking about today's subject, why today's video, again, let's just go back to, okay, why, I chose this topic and we're talking about this is only because I feel like at this point, it's, we got to laugh to keep us from crying, okay? And at the very least, with Trump in power, we're going to be laughing every fucking day. We can guarantee that he's going to keep us laughing. We're going to be, at the very least entertained, as opposed to, having Kamala in power, which is, just as bad as Joe Biden. It's as simple as that. Meaning bad that, again, how the world perceives the USA, how embarrassing it is to have these people in power, how, their policies, really affect, the typical American individual out there. And I can go on and on. So, again, they're both horrible, but, if I were to pick, which is the lesser of two evils, or at least the one that's going to keep us entertained for longer, I would say Trump. I don't see Kamala Harris as being very entertaining. So, but what do I know? All right, definitely don't know anything. Right? I'm just a giant clown. All right, that's all I am. I'm just a giant clown with a fake plastic horse. All right, styrofoam horse. All right. So with all that being said, guys, all right, I think I've already overstayed my welcome here. I think I should get going. I got things I still got to do, and it is what it is. By the way, for anyone out there that watches my Mexico content, my Mexican videos, and so on and so forth, don't forget to join me later tonight. I got Jose Novello coming on the show for anyone that's interested in that. So again, in 4 hours, okay? In 4 hours, we're gonna go live. All right, and we're going to be, again, interviewing a Mexican lawyer to help answer all your questions about living in Mexico and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in around 4 hours. And, again, he's going to come over. We're going to have some fun, chat with you guys, and help you guys out as much as we can, all right? But for those of you guys that don't care about any of that stuff and only care about the stuff on this channel, well, I'll definitely see you guys here next Thursday. And, hopefully we can come up with some fun topics. Again, I waited till the last minute to create it, to figure out what I was going to talk about today. I'm probably going to do the same thing next week because it's just we're living in such a crazy world right now where, you know what I mean? Like it's I want to make sure that it's relevant. Whatever I'm saying is pretty relevant to the moment. Okay. So with that said, if there's any one of you guys out there in the audience, okay, that might have some topics or ideas for topics or whatever for the future, for a future episode, meaning next week or whenever, please leave them down below in the comment section. All right, I would love to hear what you guys want to hear me talk about, and I'll let you know whether I'm going to talk about it or not. But yeah, there's a lot of topics, there's a lot of things to talk about, and if you guys have any suggestions on what you guys would like me to cover, let me know. If you guys enjoyed story time, you guys remember when I was doing story time on a more regular basis, just telling you my life stories, because I have a million life stories. We can also do that as well. I don't know. I kind of like, walked away a little bit from telling life stories because, well, it seems like you guys have been enjoying all this I guess, political talk or whatever this is, you know, a little bit more. So we're just going to kind of continue with this. And we're just going to keep bouncing back and forth and bouncing around because, you know, definitely after the elections, I'm not going to be talking about this shit all day. You know what I mean? That's it. It's kind of, you know, the time is now to talk about this. And then after the elections, it's all said and done. And there'll be other things to talk about and so on and so forth. So, oh, sorry, I just heard a noise outside. I got to keep my eye on there because I got laundry hanging out there and I don't want it to rain out of the blue. Our Hansen says, shout out to Hansen, by the way. Hansen says, if the USA finally elects a black Indian woman, can we not be a racist country anymore? I mean, I totally agree with you, by the way. I sincerely doubt, I sincerely doubt that they will stop talking about that. Because, again, I thought that we cured racism in the USA after electing Obama. But it seems like there's more racism today than there ever has been. So will we cure racism when we elect Kamala Harris? I guess we'll cure it for a few years until the next presidential election, and then that's going to go out the window again. Because you already know they're just trying to gaslight you, and they're just trying to get you to get all emotional so that you can lean one way or the other. Ephraim says, another great show. Thanks for the take care, Jose. And thank you so much. So I appreciate that. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I think I've already kind of, stayed a little bit too long, a little longer than usual. But regardless, glad you guys enjoyed the show. I love you guys. Jen says yes to life stories. Okay, so I'll bring some life stories back on the table. I always got life stories at the very least that I can cover if there's nothing else to cover. Okay, so for sure, I'm glad to hear that. It's a vote of confidence. I'm glad you enjoyed that, so we can talk more about life stories. I got way more to tell you guys about and so on and so forth. So with all that being said, guys, you already know the deal. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit the bell icon. But more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. Please check out my website. Please check out my other channels, my other content, and just stay tuned because I got more things, coming down the pike. And I really hope you guys are enjoying everything so far. And I really hope you guys enjoy, the things that I got coming up and so on and so forth. And looking forward to seeing you guys here every day, every week, basically. You know what I mean? Even though I see you guys almost every day, but, from a different angle. Regardless, you already know the deal, guys. I'll see you guys on Sunday on the other channel. I'll see you guys here next Thursday, okay, here. I'll see you guys later tonight on the other channel and so on and so forth, all right? And, again, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And please, stay awesome. Try not to, go crazy with everything going on in the USA. Just trying to, breathe. And just know that everything will work out and be okay in the long run. Even if you have to escape and move to Mexico or Antarctica or whatever it is you got to do. In the end, things will be okay. So just kind of go with the flow and, try to laugh instead of cry, okay? Because otherwise, it's going to be kind of sucky going forward. So, all right, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. And I'll see you guys